is famously known for doing. She's always reclaiming her time, and y'all, we a little behind. So I'm gonna make sure that I give y'all some of y'all's time back, honey.
Over 200 people filled the audience, their eyes bright with anticipation, the kind that came not just for a show, but for a moment. Phones hovered, ready to capture something shareable, something historic. Karoline emerged from the backstage shadows like someone stepping into her rightful domain. Her red blazer wasn't just a wardrobe choice, it was armor. It cut sharp against the stage lighting, commanding attention before she'd said a word. Her posture was upright, practiced, perfect. Her lips curled slightly, not into a smile, but into something tighter, more strategic. Confidence didn't just follow her, it preceded her. On X, the hashtag Karoline Shines climbed rapidly, a stream of gifs and pundit praise flooding timelines before the show even began. She moved with precision, like a chess master before the first move, reviewing mental scripts and social signals. Every bullet point in her mind had been tested and polished. Patriotism, strength, clarity. She wasn't here to answer questions. She was here to declare truths. Or so she believed. Elsewhere in the building, Jasmine waited in silence. There were no hashtags attached to her name. No buzz. No fanfare. She sat in a makeup room filled with quiet, the kind that softened the edges of thought. The mirror before her reflected calm, but her silence was anything but empty. Her black, high-collared top swallowed the studio's brightness. She didn't fidget, didn't rehearse. She waited. Her stillness was a kind of preparation. She wasn't here to perform. She was here to endure. The room hummed with the low machinery of spectacle. Crew members counting down, producers scanning shot lists, cables curling like veins across the floor. No one noticed the man in the third row. Gray suit, 3-star pin, one dimmed. His posture was military straight, his expression unreadable. He sat unmoving, a ghost in plain sight. He wasn't listed on any guest sheet. No one knew his name, but he hadn't come to be seen. The audience was tuned for confrontation. They didn't know it yet, but they were waiting for silence. Not applause, not rhetoric, silence, the kind that follows impact. Karoline was first to the stage. Her entrance cued cheers and the bright click of camera shutters. The red blazer blazed under the lights. She nodded once, a subtle cue to the audience, and sat down. The glass table reflected her like a twin. Clear, sharp, poised. She was ready to dominate. That was the expectation. That was the role. Jasmine entered with no announcement. No one clapped. She didn't glance at the crowd. She didn't need to. Her energy disrupted nothing. Not yet. She moved like shadow, and yet when she took her seat across from Karoline, something shifted. Not visually, atmospherically. Cameras adjusted. Lights warmed. The show began. Karoline opened strong. Talking points flowed like rehearsed lines, her voice confident, fingers tapping rhythmically against the desk. Every gesture was calibrated to reinforce control. She leaned in, she smiled just enough, she paused for emphasis. Her narrative was seamless until it wasn't. What disrupted her wasn't a counterargument, not a raised voice, not even words. It was the moment Jasmine looked up and held the silence. No response, no defense, no flash of anger, just a long, unwavering gaze, calm, complete. Then a breath, then another. Jasmine reached for her water. The audience, already unsettled, fidgeted. Even Karoline shifted. Subtly, the red blazer no longer looked like armor. It looked loud. The man in the third row didn't move. Karoline tried to regain control. She smiled again, pivoted, but something had cracked. A tiny fissure in the rhythm. A presence she couldn't name had entered the room. Not Jasmine, not the man, the silence between them, the mirror. And that's what the audience felt. Not a debate, a reckoning. By the time the segment ended, no one remembered the applause. They remembered the pause. The weight of a moment held too long, too honestly. Later that night, clips flooded social media, but not the ones Karoline expected. The most shared moment wasn't her strongest point. It was her stillness, her eyes flicking off camera, her throat tightening, a silence captured mid-frame. The studio of American Spotlight pulsed with vibrant energy, its sleek set bathed in the glow of soaring spotlights that cast a radiant sheen over the packed audience, their applause erupting as Karoline made her entrance, a commanding figure in her vivid red blazer. Her smile, polished and unyielding, radiated confidence, her movements precise as she settled into her chair, the glass table before her reflecting the studio's electric atmosphere. The audience, over 200 strong, leaned forward, their enthusiasm fueled by Karoline's reputation for commanding debates, their claps a rhythmic endorsement of her presence. The cameras, expertly angled, framed her as the focal point, their lenses capturing the gleam of her blazer, its bold hue a visual declaration of her dominance under the studio's meticulously calibrated lights. Karoline responded to the host's questions with effortless finesse, her answers on the growing divide among youth delivered with a practiced cadence that elicited nods and cheers from the crowd. Her words, sharp and calculated, painted a picture of values versus systems, her rhetoric resonating with an audience primed for her assertive style. The host, leaning slightly toward her, seemed to amplify her momentum, his questions tailored to showcase her rhetorical prowess. Jasmine sat beside her, her black high-collared top a stark contrast to Karoline's flamboyance, her silence a quiet counterpoint that went largely unnoticed by the buzzing crowd. Jasmine's posture remained still, her hands resting lightly on the table, her face composed, her eyes occasionally drifting downward, as if detached from the spectacle unfolding around her. The studio's atmosphere crackled with anticipation, the audience's energy feeding Karoline's confidence as she leaned into her role, her red blazer a beacon of her ambition. The hashtag Karoline Shines trended higher on X, its posts amplifying clips of her opening remarks, each one a testament to her ability to steer the narrative. The cameras lingered on her, their operators attuned to her dynamic presence, while Jasmine's understated demeanor faded into the background, her black outfit absorbing the light, her silence mistaken for passivity. The audience, caught up in Karoline's rhythm, responded eagerly to her quips, their laughter a chorus that emboldened her to press further, her eyes scanning the crowd for reactions, her smile widening as she sensed their alignment with her worldview. Emboldened by the room's fervor, Karoline allowed herself a subtle jab, her tone light but pointed as she suggested that some politicians gain media attention not for their merits, but for fitting a curated image, a veiled reference to race that landed with a casual sting. The audience chuckled, a scattered ripple of amusement, their response validating her boldness, while the host offered a fleeting smile, his hesitation unnoticed in the moment's momentum. Jasmine's gaze dropped to the glass table, her fingers tapping twice in a deliberate motion, a silent signal that carried no immediate weight but hinted at a shift beneath the surface. Karoline, buoyed by the laughter, let out a soft laugh of her own, her confidence unshaken, her eyes flicking briefly to Jasmine, interpreting her silence as surrender, unaware of the deeper currents stirring in the room. The cameras, trained on Karoline, missed the man in the third row, an older figure in a gray suit, his 3-starred pin, 1 star dimmed, gleaming faintly under the studio lights. His hands rested calmly on his knees, his posture upright, his eyes fixed on Karoline with a quiet intensity that went unnoticed by the bustling crew and enthralled audience. His presence, unmarked by any guest list, carried a weight that had yet to register, his gaze a silent force that began to alter the room's dynamic without a single word. The audience, swept up in Karoline's performance, remained oblivious, their focus locked on the stage where she held court. Her red blazer a symbol of her control, her laughter a punctuation mark on a moment she believed she owned. Jasmine's stillness grew more pronounced, her fingers now motionless, her eyes locked on the table's edge, her composure a deliberate choice that contrasted sharply with Karoline's animated delivery. The host, sensing a need to balance the exchange, turned to Jasmine, but her brief response deflected attention back to Karoline, who seized the opportunity to press her advantage, her smile sharpening as she leaned forward. The audience's laughter lingered, their applause a reflex to Karoline's charisma, yet a faint unease began to ripple through the room, an unspoken tension that no one could yet name. The cameras, still favoring Karoline, panned briefly across the audience, their lenses grazing the man in the third row for a fleeting second, his unwavering gaze unnoticed, his silence a gathering storm that Karoline could not yet sense. The studio, a microcosm of America's polarized discourse, stood poised on the edge of shift, its lights and cameras amplifying Karoline's dominance, her red blazer a vivid emblem of her ambition. The hashtag Karoline Shines surged, its posts a chorus of admiration, unaware that the evening's narrative was about to pivot. Karoline's laughter, light and dismissive, echoed in the air, her confidence blinding her to the man in the third row, whose eyes, filled with a calm but unyielding strength, followed her every move. The audience, still clapping, remained caught in her spell, their reactions a testament to her skill. Yet the silent figure in the gray suit began to cast a shadow, his presence a latent force that would soon challenge the stage she thought she controlled, setting the stage for a reckoning that would resonate far beyond the studio's glittering walls. The night deepened over New York City, its skyline a glittering tapestry reflected in the glass walls of Karoline's sleek office, where her team convened in a tense, late-hour session to grapple with the fallout from her misstep on American Spotlight. Karoline, still clad in her vibrant red blazer, sat at the head of a polished conference table, her posture rigid, her eyes shadowed with a mix of defiance and unease as the weight of her televised jest settled over her. The office, a hub of strategic planning, hummed with the soft glow of laptops and the faint rustle of documents, the air thick with the scent of coffee and the urgency of a reputation under siege. Social media had erupted, X-posts flooding under the hashtag Karoline flops, each one dissecting her ill-fated quip about politicians chosen for their appearance, the comments a chorus of condemnation that echoed beyond the studio's walls. Liam Cross, Karoline's media strategist, hunched over a laptop, his screen replaying the pivotal moment from the broadcast, his cursor pausing on the frame where Jasmine mentioned her father, the camera briefly catching the man in the third row, his silent presence a turning point Liam now recognized as critical. His fingers darted across the keyboard, annotating timestamps where the audience's mood shifted, his analysis pinpointing the exact second Karoline's laughter faltered under the weight of Jasmine's measured response. Liam initiated a secure call with Sophia Lynn, a data analyst whose knack for unearthing obscure records had bolstered past campaigns, her expertise now vital to understanding the man whose gaze had upended the narrative. Sophia's tablet flickered with public record searches, her algorithms sifting through voter registries and community archives to identify Jasmine's family, her focus narrowing on the father whose presence had silenced the room. Karoline, her red blazer, now slightly creased from hours of pacing, requested access to archives of Jasmine's past public appearances, her hope pinned on uncovering vulnerabilities to counter the growing backlash. Her fingers tapped restlessly on the table, her mind racing to reclaim the control she had wielded so effortlessly on stage, her confidence shaken by the viral spread of clips highlighting her misstep. The office's glass walls, reflecting the city's restless lights, seemed to close in, the hashtag Karoline flops trending higher, its posts joined by hashtag Jasmine Speaks, a grassroots signal of public sympathy for her opponent. The team worked with a quiet intensity, their collective focus a silent vow to mitigate the damage, their efforts fueled by the realization that Karoline's quip had struck a deeper chord than intended, resonating with a nation grappling with issues of identity and respect. As Sophia outlined her research strategy, Karoline's encrypted email pinged with a message from an anonymous studio employee, a whistleblower who had witnessed the taping's raw dynamics. Attached was a video file that sent a surge of adrenaline through Karoline. Backstage footage of Jasmine and her father, their quiet exchange centered on the power of silence as a response to provocation, his words of philosophy that had clearly shaped Jasmine's restraint on stage. Karoline played the clip, her pulse quickening as she absorbed the gravity of her oversight, the footage revealing a bond and a strength she had underestimated. She forwarded the file to Liam and Sophia, her heart racing as the team recognized its potential to reframe their approach, the discovery transforming the office into a war room where every member moved with renewed purpose, their focus sharpened by the challenge to her public image. Liam leaned over his laptop, compiling a dossier on Jasmine's public record, his notes highlighting her advocacy for marginalized communities, her speeches often referencing her father's experiences as a veteran and community leader, details that now cast Karoline's jest in a harsher light. Sophia's screen flashed with preliminary findings, her searches uncovering articles about Jasmine's father, a man whose quiet resilience in the face of discrimination had inspired local initiatives. His story a quiet undercurrent to Jasmine's political rise. The backstage video, now looped on a secondary monitor, became the cornerstone of their strategy, its candid moments a stark contrast to Karoline's polished bravado, its authenticity a warning of the narrative shift they needed to counter. The team worked through the night, their concentration unbroken, driven by a shared urgency to navigate the storm Karoline had unwittingly unleashed. The office, bathed in the soft glow of desk lamps, became a crucible of damage control, each document a piece of a puzzle designed to salvage Karoline's standing. Karoline's fingers traced the edge of her blazer, its vibrant hue now a reminder of the spotlight she had sought, her ambition now tempered by the realization that she had misjudged her audience. The hashtags Karoline flops and Jasmine speaks climbed higher, their posts a digital referendum on her words, amplified by clips of the man in the third row, his silent gaze a symbol of unspoken truths. The team's synergy, fueled by Liam's media acumen, Sophia's analytical precision, and the whistleblower's revelation, positioned them to confront the crisis with strategic clarity. Karoline stood, her gaze drifting to the city's lights, her red blazer a symbol of a battle she was no longer certain she could win, yet determined to face the reckoning her words had provoked, ready to navigate a path through the truth she had underestimated. A week after the tense strategy session in her New York office, Karoline faced a mounting tide of public criticism as a video clip from American Spotlight, capturing her ill-judged quip and the silent stand of Jasmine's father, spread virally across digital platforms, reshaping the narrative around her public persona. The hashtag Jasmine Speaks surged into global trends on X, propelled by millions of views of the moment when the man in the third row rose, his calm presence a powerful rebuke that resonated far beyond the studio. Sophia Lin, the data analyst, worked tirelessly from a digital hub, coordinating a network of bloggers and influencers who crafted poignant montages, blending footage of the show with stark text overlays, silence louder than words. The videos proliferated, shared by activists, educators, and everyday viewers, transforming Karoline's misstep into a public referendum on accountability and empathy. In Karoline's office, Liam Cross handed her a comprehensive dossier, its pages detailing the life of Jasmine's father, a veteran whose decades of confronting discrimination had inspired community initiatives, his quiet resilience a cornerstone of Jasmine's advocacy. The dossier, enriched with Sophia's archival research and public records, painted a vivid portrait of a man whose story amplified the sting of Karoline's jest, its clarity a sobering reminder of her oversight. Liam prepped Karoline for a carefully chosen podcast appearance, providing her with data on public sentiment, the analytics showing a sharp decline in her approval among moderate viewers. On air, Karoline sat in her red blazer, its vibrancy now muted, her voice measured as she acknowledged a misjudgment without offering a formal apology, her words a cautious attempt to stem the backlash. Yet the hashtag Karoline flops continued to climb, its posts a relentless critique of her tone. Protests erupted outside the American Spotlight studio, swelling into a vibrant coalition of students, community leaders, and cultural advocates who marched through Manhattan streets, their placards proclaiming words wound in bold letters, their chants echoing under the spring sky. The crowd, a diverse assembly of those touched by issues of identity and respect, stood united in their demand for accountability, their signs a direct challenge to Karoline's casual rhetoric, amplified by the viral reach of the video. In her office, Jasmine maintained a deliberate silence, her black attire a quiet contrast to the public fervor, her focus on policy work unbroken as she reviewed legislation, her composure a testament to the strength she drew from her father. The veteran, seated in his modest home, watched the news unfold on a small television, his face serene, his three-starred pin gleaming faintly, his silence a steady anchor amid the storm. Karoline stood at her office window, the New York skyline a stark backdrop, its restless lights mirroring the turmoil she felt as she gripped her phone, scrolling through the unrelenting posts under hashtag Jasmine Speaks. Her hand rested on a folder of fresh data, surveys, social media metrics, and a leaked memo from a rival strategist outlining ways to exploit her error, each piece a tool to rebuild her image. Yet her control felt increasingly elusive. Sophia's tablet buzzed with analytics, showing hashtag Jasmine Speaks outpacing hashtag Karoline Flops, its post now joined by hashtag Silent Speaks, a grassroots cry for reflection that gained traction globally. The dossier, spread across the conference table, served as a roadmap to understanding the cultural nerve Karoline had struck, its contents a testament to the team's frantic efforts to navigate the crisis. The media frenzy intensified, with outlets like CNN running segments on the viral moment, their pundits dissecting the power of Jasmine's father's silence, while online platforms like Reddit debated Karoline's intent. One user calling the moment the instant privilege tripped over itself. The Manhattan protests grew louder, their energy spilling into social media, where influencers posted comparisons of Karoline's quip and Jasmine's restraint, each viral thread a blow to Karoline's credibility. Jasmine's office, a quiet haven of focus, stood in contrast to the public uproar, her father's calm presence a silent endorsement of her approach, his image now a symbol in protest art shared online. Karoline's evidence, now circulating in press briefs to sympathetic outlets, aimed to reframe her as misunderstood. Yet the narrative remained dominated by the man in the third row, his stand a visual that no statement could erase. Karoline's resolve, once unshakable, wavered under the weight of public scrutiny, her red blazer a reminder of the stage where she had faltered. The hashtag Jasmine Speaks, now a global phenomenon, carried stories of communities grappling with microaggressions, their voices amplifying the moment's broader implications. Sophia's coordination with bloggers ensured maximum exposure, their montages viewed by millions, each frame a reminder of the veteran's quiet power. Liam, monitoring media coverage, noted a shift in tone among reporters, their questions probing Karoline's motives, their focus now on the cultural impact of her words. Karoline, alone at her window, felt the erosion of her influence, her hand clutching the folder as she prepared to face the next phase, determined to reclaim her narrative yet haunted by the silent gaze that had shifted the room, ready to confront a public awakening she had unwittingly sparked. The studio of American Spotlight crackled with renewed tension as it reopened for a special follow-up broadcast, its polished set flooded with journalists, their cameras trained on the stage where a packed audience awaited a reckoning of the viral incident that had gripped the nation. Karoline sat under the harsh spotlights, her red blazer, once a beacon of confidence, now appearing dulled, its vibrancy overshadowed by the weight of public scrutiny, her eyes avoiding the center of the room where the memory of her misstep lingered. Jasmine, seated beside her, wore her signature black high-collared top, her composure unshaken, her gaze fixed on the third row where her father sat, his gray suit and three-starred pin, one star dimmed, radiating a quiet dignity that commanded the space without effort. The studio, a nexus of media and emotion, hummed with the soft whir of equipment and the rustle of notepads, the air thick with anticipation and the scent of a moment poised to redefine the narrative. Liam Cross, Karoline's media strategist, stepped forward with a calculated presence, his laptop linked to a large screen that loomed over the set, its display projecting data on the societal impact of inflammatory rhetoric, a defensive gambit to reframe Karoline's quip as a broader cultural critique. The audience listened attentively, but a collective gasp rippled through the room when Sophia Lynn, the data analyst, took the stage, her tablet unveiling a video from a 2015 community hearing on systemic racism, where Jasmine's father, a veteran, sat silently as others debated, his stillness forcing the room to confront its own biases. The footage, unearthed through Sophia's meticulous research, stunned the journalists, their pens racing to capture the moment, the cameras zooming in to immortalize the veteran's unwavering gaze, a silent force that echoed his stand in the original broadcast. Jasmine's father, seated in the third row, remained motionless, his hands resting on his knees, his three-starred pin gleaming faintly, a testament to a life of service and resilience that now anchored the studio's atmosphere. His presence, unheralded by any introduction, shifted the room's dynamic, his eyes fixed on the stage with a calm intensity that needed no words to convey its power. Outside, protesters gathered along Manhattan streets, their chants of truth in silence, filtering through the studio's walls, their placards of vibrant demand for accountability that amplified the hashtag Jasmine Speaks campaign, now trending globally with millions of posts. The journalists, their earlier focus on Karoline's defense, now turned their lenses toward the third row, their footage capturing a figure whose silence spoke louder than any argument, his image destined to dominate news cycles. Karoline gripped a pen tightly, its cool metal a fragile anchor, as she felt the room's attention shift, her red blazer no longer the focal point, but a reminder of the stage where she had faltered. Her eyes darted briefly to the screen, where the 2015 video looped, the veteran's silence a mirror reflecting her own misjudgment, its clarity eroding her once unassailable confidence. Sophia, her presentation unrelenting, accused Karoline of ignorance, her data citing studies on the harm of casual stereotypes, each statistic a pointed rebuke that landed heavily in the hushed studio. The audience, no longer swayed by Karoline's earlier charisma, leaned forward, their murmurs stilled by the weight of the veteran's presence, their reactions a mix of awe and introspection as they witnessed a narrative pivot beyond anyone's control. Jasmine sat steady, her black attire absorbing the light, her gaze locked on her father, a silent communion that grounded her amidst the media storm. The cameras, panning between Sophia's damning evidence and the veteran's stoic figure, capture a moment that transcended the broadcast, their operators sensing a historic shift. Karoline's hand trembled slightly, the pen nearly slipping as she felt the room's energy realign, her red blazer now a symbol of a miscalculation she could not escape. The protesters' chants grew louder, their voices a rhythmic pulse that seeped into the studio, a public outcry that echoed the millions of X posts under hashtag Silence Speaks, each one hailing the veteran as a symbol of unspoken truth. The studio's atmosphere shifted from debate to reckoning, the journalists' questions poised to probe deeper, their focus now on the man whose silence had reframed the conversation. The veteran rose slowly from his seat, his movements deliberate, his gray suit a quiet contrast to the studio's frenetic energy, his three-starred pin a beacon of his legacy. The room fell silent, the audience's breath held, the journalist's pens pausing as his gaze settled on Karoline, calm but heavy, a presence that demanded accountability without accusation. Karoline's eyes dropped to the table, her confidence crumbling under the weight of his stand, her red blazer a fading emblem of the control she had lost. The cameras lingered on the veteran, their footage a testament to a moment where silence outshone rhetoric, his image a catalyst for a nation grappling with its own reflections. The studio, a battleground of ideas, became a stage for a father's quiet power, his stand a force that shifted the narrative, leaving Karoline to confront the consequences of her words in the face of a truth that needed no voice to be heard. The morning after the charged follow-up broadcast of American Spotlight bathed New York City in a gentle, golden light, its soft rays filtering through skyscrapers, as if signaling a quiet shift in the cultural conversation sparked by the silent stand of Jasmine's father. The media, once fixated on Karoline's rhetorical flair, now acknowledged the profound impact of the veteran's presence, their headlines hailing his silence as a catalyst for reflection, prompting Karoline to issue a brief statement about needing time for reflection. Social media erupted in a triumphant wave. The hashtag Silence Speaks dominating X. Its posts a vibrant celebration of a moment that had transcended debate, while a video of the veteran stand, paired with clips from the 2015 hearing, amassed 40 million views, each frame a testament to the power of restraint over rhetoric. The protests that had encircled the studio softened into peaceful gatherings, with hundreds converging on a nearby plaza, their placards proclaiming "Silence is strength" in vivid hues, a tapestry of unity under the spring sun. Jasmine stood on a modest platform in the plaza, her black high-collared top catching the sunlight, its understated elegance a symbol of the quiet resolve that had carried her through the public storm. Her eyes, radiant with gratitude, surveyed the crowd, a diverse coalition of activists, students, and community members who had rallied behind her father's unspoken message, their cheers a harmonious anthem of solidarity. The air was alive with the scent of blooming flowers and the energy of a movement. The plaza, a living monument to a woman who had honored her father's legacy without raising her voice. Major news outlets amplified the moment, with the Washington Post dubbing the veteran a symbol of dignity, their analysts dissecting the cultural shift, while CNN hailed him as a voice without words, a rare consensus that underscored the moment's resonance. In stark contrast, Karoline secluded herself in her Manhattan apartment, the blinds drawn as she watched the news unfold on a muted screen, her face a mask of introspection, her red blazer now folded away, a relic of a stage where she had faltered. Her public persona, once defined by unyielding confidence, now bore the weight of a misstep that had sparked a national reckoning, her name tied to a moment she could not outrun. Liam Cross returned to their office, where an email from a high school teacher awaited, its words praising the team for changing the lesson on accountability, a quiet tribute pinned beside a printed still of the veteran stand, his 3-starred pin gleaming. The office, once a war room of crisis management, now buzzed with a sense of recalibration, its glass walls reflecting the city's lights as a beacon of possibility. Jasmine's gaze lingered on the horizon, the New York skyline a testament to the broader mission her father's silence had ignited, her black attire a quiet emblem of her commitment. The media frenzy continued, with outlets like the New York Times running features on the power of nonverbal protest, their reporters citing the veteran's stand as a turning point, while online forums like Reddit celebrated his role in shifting public discourse, one post calling him the mirror America needed. The plaza gatherings evolved into festivals of dialogue, with community leaders hosting panels on empathy and identity, their discussions a powerful rebuke to divisive rhetoric. Jasmine's image, captured in a viral photograph standing poised in her black top, became a symbol of resilience, shared millions of times with captions hailing her as the keeper of silence, a figure who had amplified her father's legacy without seeking the spotlight. Karoline, alone in her apartment, sifted through news alerts on her phone, her hands steady but her heart heavy as she confronted the erosion of her influence. The news channels, once platforms for her charisma, now dissected the veteran's impact, their reports a reminder of her miscalculation in underestimating the power of presence. A memo from Liam, urging a pivot to community engagement, lay unread on her desk, its presence a silent acknowledgement of her need to evolve. In Jasmine's office, Sophia reviewed messages from supporters, each one a story of transformation. A teacher inspired to discuss microaggressions, a student advocating for inclusive dialogue. The dossier, once a tool of defense, now rested in a drawer, its purpose fulfilled, its pages a record of a moment that had reshaped perceptions. Jasmine stood at her office window, the city's pulse syncing with her own, her black top a quiet testament to her journey from silent observer to cultural catalyst. The victory belonged not just to her, but to every individual wounded by careless words, every community seeking respect, every voice yearning for authenticity. Social media analytics showed #SilentSpeaks climbing higher, its reach extending globally as international outlets cited the veteran's stand as a model for quiet resistance. The office, now a hub of forward-looking plans, hummed with ideas for a national campaign to promote empathy in discourse, a legacy Jasmine intended to nurture. The plaza, now a symbol of unity, glowed with evening light as families gathered, their stories a testament to the truth Jasmine and her father had championed, their presence woven into the fabric of a movement that stood poised to redefine accountability in an era of.
If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more. Your support helps us keep sharing powerful stories that matter. What did this story mean to you? Let us know below.